My friends, if you were hoping that Sayfullo Saipov, the maniac Muslim who ran amok yesterday in Manhattan, killed 8 people, wounded lots of others by driving a truck along a bike path, if you were hoping that he was repentant and remorseful the day after his attack, well, think again. Think again. Item from WABC. New York City terrorist suspect Sayfullo Saipov was out of surgery Wednesday morning, is expected to survive after he was shot by NYPD officers during a truck rampage that killed 8 people in Lower Manhattan. Investigators say they were able to talk to Saipov. It's unclear what, if anything, investigators learned from him, though one official told ABC News that he was, quote, proud of the attack. They added that the suspect followed instructions for a truck attack that were distributed by ISIS to a T. Saipov allegedly left behind a handwritten note written in Arabic that translates to, "The Islamic State will endure forever," unquote. That last word is the key. The Islamic State is playing the long game. They've got patience because they know time is on their side. The Muslim population in the world is booming. Muslims are spreading out to every nation in the world, and their populations are growing, aided and abetted by liberals who want Western societies to be defenseless before Muslim jihad. Politicians only see as far as the next election. Corporations only see as far as the next quarterly results that they have to send to shareholders. But we have got to start looking further down the road. What will Islam be doing to Western countries 20 years from now? 50 years from now? A century from now? Well, unless we take drastic and dramatic action, they'll be doing the same thing they're doing today, only a hell of a lot more of it. This is a wake-up call. I hear big shots, experts on TV saying, well, we're doing everything we can, and they're liars. We're not doing everything we can. What can we do? Answer one simple question for me. How would Sayfullo Saipov have killed anyone in Manhattan yesterday if he wasn't in Manhattan yesterday? How would Muslims kill anyone in any Western country if there were no Muslims in Western countries? We're going to be looking at that question today on Riell Truth. My friends, stick around.
We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, to ordain and establish this Constitution. American Window Tinting Incorporated in Franktown reminds parents, keep an eye on your child while shopping. Children tend to stray or become lost. This is an opportunity for them to be abducted. Please make every effort to keep track of your little one at all times. If you have information regarding a lost child, call local authorities at once. This message is from American Window Tinting Incorporated in Franktown. For residential or commercial window tinting, call 303-263-4228. Piccolo's Restaurant in Denver reminds that over 750,000 children were reported missing last year. Over 58,000 of these were abducted by non-family members. Keep an eye out for youngsters at play. If you see anything suspicious, contact the authorities immediately. This message from Piccolo's Restaurant in Denver. It's not only the best Italian and Mexican cuisine, it's the people who care. Give them a call, 303-757-5156. 303-757-5156.
My friends, I heard 3 things well, more than that, but 3 basic things on TV yesterday in the wake of the Manhattan attacks that were pure crap. Number one, that we have to get behind a Muslim reformation. Islam has to reform itself. Will never happen. Number 2, that we're doing everything we can to protect ourselves. Wrong. We're not. Not even close. 3, now this was possibly the silliest, that the NYPD has instructed people at truck rental companies to question people who look like Muslims who want to rent the truck and then decide whether or not they want to rent the truck to them. Oh, really? So right off the bat, we're turning minimum wage employees working the desk at a truck rental place, we're turning them into investigators. We're asking them to endanger their lives. After all, if a terrorist wants to rent a truck and murder people, he won't exactly be reluctant to murder the guy behind the counter. Number 3, what if he doesn't want to answer questions? And number 4, what is this poor clerk at the rental office supposed to do if he deems this guy who looks like a Muslim to be dangerous? Refuse to rent him a truck? Will the owner of the truck rental company be happy with that? Here's a piece today from jihadwatch.org, which I strongly recommend you get familiar with. It's a website put together by Robert Spencer, who's been a guest on this show more than once, has authored many books on Islam, which I urge you to read. Here is what Spencer writes, and I'm quoting. John Miller, NYPD Deputy Commissioner of Intelligence and Counterterrorism, said, "We did extensive outreach to the truck rental business. We visited over 148 truck rental locations in this area. The industry has had a high level of awareness on this matter from the NYPD," unquote. Miller also said if a company is suspicious of a would-be renter, they usually delay or simply deny a rental to let police investigate. Really? The companies deny rentals to suspicious characters? Is that so? Here's Sayfullo Saipov, the New York City truck jihad mass murderer. And there's a picture. Does he look like he could be a jihad terrorist? Certainly. But to acknowledge that would be to engage in racial profiling. And given the decidedly Islamic style of his facial hair, a hadith depicts Muhammad telling Muslims to trim their mustaches but not their beards, because Jews and Christians trim their beards and not their mustaches. Religious profiling, a manifestation of Islamophobia as well. Imagine now you're the clerk at Home Depot when Saipov came in to rent his truck. You notice his beard, his demeanor, his overall appearance. The vehicular jihad attacks in London, Paris, Berlin, Brussels, Nice, Jerusalem, Ohio State University, and so many other places flash across your mind. It occurs to you that the man standing before you wanting to rent a truck could be intending to mow down non-Muslim pedestrians with it. You may even have heard about Islamic State's directive to Muslims to use for vehicular jihad attacks exactly the kind of truck that Saipov wants to rent. But then you stop yourself. You admonish your inner voice. You can't think this way, you tell yourself. It's racist. It's bigoted. It's Islamophobic. Just because this fellow looks like a jihadi doesn't mean he is one. So what if he's devout and observant in Islam? Hundreds of millions of people who would never be terrorists are as well. You've got to fight this Islamophobia in your heart. You watch as Saipov fills out the forms. You run his credit card through the system. You imagine what would happen if you deny him a rental. Tomorrow, the Council on American Islamic Relations would be there, complaining about Islamophobia in Home Depot. Your face would be on NY1, CNN, MSNBC. You might even make the front page of the New York Times. Headline, Home Depot clerk denies service to man because he's Muslim. You can see it all like a dying man seeing his life flash before his eyes. You wouldn't just lose your job. You'd lose your name, your reputation, maybe even your chances for future employment elsewhere. You'd be known and hated nationwide as an Islamophobe. You opt for self-preservation. You rent Saipov his truck. A far-fetched scenario? Hardly. The Fort Hood jihad mass murderer Nidal Hassan frightened his co-workers with his jihad talk, but his superiors did not investigate or reprimand him. They promoted him. They didn't want Islamophobia in the military exposés with their names on them. The neighbors of the San Bernardino jihad murderer saw all kinds of suspicious activity at the murderous couple's house, but did not call the police. They were afraid of being seen as racially profiling the couple. The Fort Dix jihad massacre plot was foiled by a young man who found out about it, but at first hesitated to call police for fear of being, quote, racist. This is the fruit of the Islamophobia propaganda that's been pounded into Americans on a daily basis for years now. People are afraid to say something if they see something for fear of the ostracism and career ruin that charges of Islamophobia could bring. That's the focus of my new book, writes Robert Spencer, Confessions of an Islamophobe, which details the full cost of this propaganda initiative. The cost to women, gays, Jews, Christians, secular liberals, secular Muslims, and others. 8 are dead in New York because of the fear of Islamophobia, unquote. My friends, as usual, Robert Spencer is brilliant, and he's honest, and he's telling the truth, and he's spot on. PC is getting innocent men, women, and children murdered, mowed down, shot, stabbed, raped, beaten. I heard people on TV yesterday inveighing against PC, but I didn't hear anyone calling for curbs on Islam. I didn't hear anyone suggesting that Islam should be banned from a Western country. I didn't hear anyone suggest that mosques should be shut down. I didn't hear anyone on TV say we should stop letting Muslims into the country. And so we're not really doing much of anything. We're running around, we're putting up barricades, we're investigating people. But tell me how much we're accomplishing. There's more jihad mayhem than ever. So we're doing exactly nothing. We're saying the right things, which sounds good, and we're posturing, which looks good, but innocent men, women, and children will continue to die horribly because we're not doing what we need to do. There is one, only one cure for Islamic terror, and that's to export Islam from our countries. No other cure. We'll be right back.
Riell Power has been providing reliable electrical power systems in the Rocky Mountain area since 1992. Our systems rely on the sun to help make you self-reliant for your power needs. Solar energy can be scaled to fit any situation, from complete power independence to backup power term. Our focus on flexible power, but we have extensive experience with utility interactive systems as well. Tailored capabilities of modern emergency lighting all the way to commercial scale power. Great Plains Power is a full-service company. We service everything we sell. We provide and design turnkey packages, custom design system, and parts for do-it-yourself. With more than 20 years of specialized experience at your disposal, let us know what your power concerns or goals are. Reach us by phone or the internet. Call 303-239-9963. That's 303-239-9963. Or go to GreatPlainsSolar.com.
The Lord makes the counsel of the nations to nothing. He makes the plans of the people of no defense. The counsel of the Lord stands forever, the plans of his heart to all generations. Blessed is the nation whose God is holy, the people he has chosen as his own inheritance. Psalm 33, verses 10 to 12.
We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these things, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just power from the consent of the governed. This is the America News Network.
All right, my friends, President Trump was on TV today talking about the truck attack in New York yesterday, what he had to say, like just about all the things he has to say, important for Americans to hear. President Trump, go.
Thank you very much. Today we mourn the horrifying terrorist attack in New York City, just blocks away from the site of the World Trade Center. A man drove a truck into a pedestrian bike path and murdered 8 people and injured very, very seriously at least 11 more. All of America is praying and grieving for the families who lost their precious loved ones. Horrible act. Our hearts break for them, and we pledge to renew our resolve in their memory. My administration is coordinating closely with federal and local officials to investigate the attack and to further investigate this animal who did the attacking. Updates will be provided as available. I am today starting the process of terminating the diversity lottery program. I'm going to ask Congress to immediately initiate work to get rid of this program.
Now, my friends, if you don't know what the diversity program is, oh man, Chuck Schumer, the Democrat big shot. Years ago, I think it was 1990, 91, something like that, he said, you know what, we need more people coming from third world. So we're going to import immigrants because diversity brings strength. You see how much strength it brought in Manhattan yesterday. And so what we're going to do is we're going to have a lottery. We're going to pick people at random and they're going to come into the country. This guy, this killer, this attacker, this jihad warrior was one of the people who came in through the lottery. So tell me something now. Do the Democrats have our backs? Are they looking out for us? Are they trying to protect us? Or are the Democrats a whopping big part of the problem? Back to the president.
Diversity lottery. Diversity sounds nice. It's not nice. It's not good. It's not good. It hasn't been good. We've been against it. So we want to immediately work with Congress on the diversity lottery program, on terminating it, getting rid of it. We want a merit-based program.
My friends, one guess. Who's going to fight Donald Trump on this? Now take a guess. I'll wait. You guess. Trump and the Republicans want to make sure that dangerous people cannot get into the country. Guess who's going to fight with him? Who's going to take the position that no, dangerous people should be allowed into this country? Always the Democrats. Always the Democrats. The Democrats against the American people.
People come into our country based on merit. And we want to get rid of chain migration. This man that came in, or whatever you want to call him, brought in with him other people. And he was the point of contact, the primary point of contact for, and this is preliminarily, 23 people.
So this guy who ran over people in Manhattan yesterday, because he immigrated, he was able to bring in 23 other people, thanks to Chuck Schumer and the Democrats. So now it's 24 hours later. Why are those 23 people still in America? I'm not hearing an answer. The reason there's no answer is because there is no good reason for them to still be here. Because there was no good reason for them to have come here in the first place.
They came in, or potentially came in with him. And that's not acceptable. So we want to get rid of chain migration. And we wanted to do that for a long time. I've been wanting to do it for a long time. And we'll be asking Congress to start working on it immediately. There are bills already about ending chain migration.
Now, my friends, you know as well as I do. Asking Congress to do something immediately means they'll get around to it approximately never. Right? We've got the do-nothingest Congress in the history of this nation.
Yeah, We have a lot of good bills in there. We're being stopped by Democrats because they're obstructionists.
We are being stopped by Democrats. Trump and his people are trying to safeguard American lives, and they're being stopped by Democrats. Roll that around on your tongue a little bit. Let it seep in. If you're one of those people who vote Democrat, then you are an obstacle to Americans being safe, and you are a useful idiot for terrorists. Yeah, you. No, not the person next to you. You. If you vote Democrat, you are throwing this country's door open to terrorists and potential terrorists and their supporters. You. Now live with that knowledge.
And honestly, we don't want to do what's right for our country. We need strength. We need resolve. We have to stop it. So we're going to get rid of this lottery program as soon as possible. He came in through the diversity program, as you know, and we're going to stop it. We're going to, as quickly as possible, get rid of chain migration and go to a merit-based system. Terrorists are constantly seeking to strike our nation, and it will require the unflinching devotion to our law enforcement, homeland security, and intelligence professionals to keep America safe. We'll take all necessary steps to protect our people and our communities and to protect our nation as a whole. We have to get much tougher. We have to get much smarter. And we have to get much less politically correct.
My friends, Donald Trump and the Republicans want to save Americans' lives. The Democrats are afraid of offending anybody. That's the difference.
We're so politically correct that we're afraid to do anything. And that's not only our country, that's other countries too that are having very similar problems. And we have to get tough, we have to get smart, we have to do what's right to protect our citizens. We will never waver in the defense of our beloved country, ever. We will never, ever forget the beautiful lives that have been taken from us. That was a horrible event, and we have to stop it, and we have to stop it. We also have to come up with punishment that's far quicker and far greater than the punishment these animals are getting right now. They'll go through court for years, and then there'll be who knows what happens. We need quick justice, and we need strong justice. Much quicker and much stronger than we have right now. Because what we have right now is a joke, and it's a laughing stock. And no wonder so much of this stuff takes place. And I think I can speak for plenty of other countries too that are in the same situation. So, with that being said, we will be starting our cabinet meeting today. And we'll do a discussion that will focus on vital issues of tax cuts and tax reform. It'll be the largest tax cuts in the history of our country by far. The House is doing very well. They've taken an extra few hours, which will go in tomorrow, and they'll be announcing, and I'll probably be standing with them, I believe, as you know, for Asia. We're leaving on Friday morning. So I'll be standing with them. Sometime tomorrow we'll be announcing massive tax cuts and reform. Not just tax cuts, it's tax cuts, which to me is the most important. Tax cuts and reform.
By the way, my friends, let me jump in here. Donald Trump and the Republicans want to cut your taxes. Guess who's opposing them? Guess who's fighting them? Guess who's obstructing them? The Democrats, the same people who want to throw the door open, have thrown the door open to terrorists. The reason I'm going on and on about the dangers of Democrats is because the state of Colorado, shockingly, horrifyingly, went for Hillary Clinton. Which is a shame that Colorado will carry with it for a long time. It's a smell that the state of Colorado will carry with it for a long time. Whether it's protecting Americans from terrorists or letting Americans keep more of their own money, the Democrats are against it. And yet you people vote Democrat. Now, I know my listeners don't, but not everybody listening right now is one of my regular listeners. We got to stop the madness. We got to stop the insanity. What the Democrats want is diametrically opposed to what's good for Americans. Got to go cold turkey, wean ourselves off voting Democrat because, folks, it is killing us.
Had 2 straight quarters of 3% or more economic growth, GDP. But our economy and our country cannot take off the way it really should. So it's really, really competitive with the rest of the world unless we get the kind of tax cuts for our companies and our middle class, our workers, unless we get the jobs we need. It can't really take off until we get the tax cuts and reform passed. This week, the House Ways and Means Committee will unveil a historic tax plan that will create new jobs, higher wages, which hasn't happened in many years, and now it's starting to happen. I'm happy to tell you, many, many years. People making less money today than they made 20 years ago. You've heard it many times before. But it'll lead to tremendous prosperity for American families, communities, and also for our job-producing businesses. At the center of our plan are tax cuts for the working Americans. We will reduce tax rates, increase the amount of income that is taxed at zero, and increase the child tax credit, which is very important to families.
That is, we will accomplish that, A, if the Democrats don't try and stop it, and they're trying. B, if Congress can get something done. Doesn't appear that Congress can. So those 2 tremendous obstacles are working against Donald Trump and his administration.
We'll make the tax code simple and fair so that the vast majority of Americans can file their taxes on a single sheet of paper. We will be simplifying, anything called simplification, our tax code. We will restore America's competitive edge by lowering taxes on American businesses for the first time in more than 30 years, and it'll be a historic cut. Right now, when the countries are so far below us, and then one day we see all these companies leaving one after another, they leave. That's not going to be happening.
My friends, we've got the most heavily taxed companies on the planet, literally 35%. No wonder businesses leave to go elsewhere. Donald Trump wants to cut that so that companies are more profitable, hire more people, buy more goods, expand the economy, inject much more money into the economy, raise our standard of living, raise our salaries, and the Democrats want to stop them. So once again, if you're a Democrat voter and you're listening to this, aren't you ashamed? Be honest. You've been voting for the wrong party. You've been voting for the wrong people. You've been empowering the wrong policies. You've been digging our graves. Now, we're not off the edge of the cliff yet, but the Democrats keep obstructing. The rhinos and the hacks in Congress keep stalling, keep doing nothing. Can't go on forever, my friends. Either we're going to make things better or we're going to die as a country. You have no idea how perilously close we are to the latter. Donald Trump has shown up and he's trying to fix these things. And people are fighting with him. We'll take a break and we'll be back, my friends. More Riell Truth will most certainly be on the way.
Simplify your supplementation with Biosuper, the most Bio Superfood from BioH.com. And now, getting just one nutritional supplement instead of the Bio Superfood formulas are whole products composed with more of the most nutrient algae found on Earth. Bio Superfood helps with focus, memory, liver, and food. If you increase brain health, the rest of the body is a little record. Bio Superfood has zero toxicity and is safe for you and your pet. Work home and order your Bio Superfood formula. BioH.com. 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 Call 877-888-9116. Power has been provided for electrical power systems in the Rocky Mountain area since 1992. Our systems rely on the sun to help make you self-reliant for your power needs. Solar energy can be scaled with any situation, from complete power independence to backup power for the short term. Our expertise focuses on sustainable and power, but we have extensive experience with utility interactive systems as well. Transportation capabilities of modern emergency lighting all the way to commercial scale power. Great Plains Power is a full-service company. We service everything we sell. We provide and design turnkey packages, custom design systems, and parts for do-it-yourself. With more than 20 years of specialized experience at your disposal, let us know what your power concerns or goals are. Reach us by phone or the internet. Call 303-239-9963. That's 303-239-9963. Or go to GreatPlainsSolar.com. And the purification collection for the moment. And reveal is glorious. The glory has the only begotten of the Father, full of grace and truth. John bore witness of him and cried out, saying, This was he of whom I said, He who comes after me is preferred before me. He was before me. The Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 14 and 15. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, to ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America.
All right, folks, as you know, and I know you know because I made sure you know, I told you about it, Laura Ingram's show debuted 2 days ago on Fox. I hope you watched it. I hope you'll continue to watch it. Tucker Carlson, Sean Hannity, Laura Ingram. During the day, you got 3 hours of Rush Limbaugh. You got an hour of me. There's no reason for you not to be up on things as long as you listen to those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shows every day. Here's Laura Ingram from yesterday with my good buddy Roger Stone. Here we go.
Joining us now, and the lady is with us, Roger Stone, conservative author, commentator, advisor for Nixon and Reagan, former president, and joins us now. Roger, great to talk to you. How are you? All right, great. I want to talk about this main point. Maybe not in constant elbowing, smashing the White House
All right, guys, the focus is not on Uranium One because it involved the Clintons. The Clintons seem as if they signed a deal with the devil, and so they can walk through a rainstorm without getting wet. That's got to change. Americans don't feel that we have equal justice in this country, and we don't. If the Clintons can get away with the things they've gotten away with, then I don't see what the point is of congressional investigations. We're going to take a break now. When we come back, we're going to hear, speaking of congressional investigations, we're going to hear about Hillary and Uranium One. That's coming up. More Real Truth, my friends. Go nowhere.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Tom Coates, founder of the Green Earth.
Well, it had to happen. The Colorado legalized marijuana. The legal bought the Green Earth was a marijuana dispensary. Also, it was legalized on January the 1st, 2014. The same day we opened our new location at 4565 Kimball Street, 1.5 blocks south of I-7. There are 83,000 cars a day passing in front of our new location at Kimball Street, and most of them thought we were a marijuana dispensary. So we changed the name of our retail store to New Business Health, but we kept the name of our Green Earth Supplement. So when you come to our new location, look for our new name, New Business Health. Or call us at 888-765-HERB. That's 888-765-4372. And be sure to listen to the Healthy Nature Show with Linda Phillips every Tuesday at 1 p.m.
Now this is the testimony of John from the Jews and recent Levites from Jerusalem that asked him, "Who are you?" He confessed and did not deny, but confessed, "I am not the Messiah." And they asked him, "What then? Are you Elijah?" He said, "I am not." "Are you the prophet?" And he answered, "No." The Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 19 through 21.
No one anywhere is more noble, righteous, selfless, courageous than the United States Armed Forces. These brave men and women of the camp put the bill for our freedom every day. And the military care packages to us so that they are in our hearts and our prayers and our thoughts. This message is from the associate at your 24-hour Walmart Supercenter on Highway 387 in Las Vegas. They're on the air because they care.
All right, guys, let me throw the ball over to Dick Morris, who's about to weigh in on the next Hillary uranium bombshell. Go.
Hi, everybody. Hi, my friends. Welcome to Deep Six, the Deep State. We're bringing this to you from a car in Washington. I just met with some of Steve Bannon's people to plot the next step in the revolution. And I look forward to keeping you posted on what's happening. This is a very, very important day because the new bombshells are about to break in this Uranium One scandal. And God knows where it's going to go. I think there's a real chance that the scandal will erupt and will come to dominate the coverage and our image of the FBI and the CIA. Just let me move this down a touch. That's perfect. My driver is holding it from the passenger seat, and I'm in the back seat. That's cool. Mobility. This Uranium One scandal, there's silence and not talking about it and not telling us that there was this investigation while it was going on, while the whole uranium issue was metastasizing in our politics. And then having the chutzpah, the nerve, the gall to make up that Trump was in league with Russia, when in fact it was the Clintons all along, and then to use this as an issue against Trump, I think is going to become completely unraveled. And I think there's a very good chance, and I say this in Rogue Spooks, which we brought out, just as the scandal was beginning, that it will turn out that the CIA and the FBI, let's move this down just a little more, were responsible for the content in the dossier. Christopher Steele, the agent who amassed it, said that he didn't write it. He said it came from unsolicited and anonymous materials. And he didn't say from whom. Now he's going to have to say from whom. He's going to be put under oath and have to say that. And I think you'll find increasingly that the FBI and the CIA were behind it, and MI6. Listen, ask yourself this question. Why would Fusion hire an ex-MI6 agent to do negative research on Donald Trump? Why would they hire someone with that skill, that pedigree, those connections to do that? Got to be much more expensive. Got to be a bit of a chance. And Steele had two key connections. One, he used to work for MI6. The Russians said there's no such thing as a former MI6 agent. Once you're there forever. And he also had at least a financial relationship with the FBI 10 years ago during the FIFA scandal, FIFA, the soccer scandal, where countries resorted to bribery to try to get the World Cup located in their home cities. And most likely, he had a 10-year relationship with the FBI that continued. We know that in the last few years, he had provided the FBI with a lot of material about Ukraine, about Manafort's work in the Ukraine, and about that whole situation. So they may have chosen him because he could be the outlet through which the FBI, the CIA, and MI6 could feed material into a dossier, which you could then get out to the American people. And if that comes out, that the FBI was doing that, it is incredible. Let's remember that the FBI, according to the Wall Street Journal, treated Steele as an informative source. It was hoping to pay him for the information that he developed. The FBI had previously paid Mr. Steele for information he helped gather during a federal investigation probe into alleged corruption at FIFA, the World Soccer Organization, according to a person familiar with the arrangement. The FBI had agreed to pay Mr. Steele, to continue his research into Trump's relationship with Russia. But the deal fell apart, according to a person familiar with the matter. So, understand the meaning of that. The Hillary campaign hired a group to do negative research on Donald Trump, and the FBI offered to fund that research. Incredible. And former agents said they would be so that that connection is really going to be the subject of increasing exposure. Now, the logjam is basically lifting because the FBI has agreed under pressure now to turn over its records of its dealings with Steele and with Fusion. The Congress congressional committees met with Sessions and appealed to Trump directly, and I think based on that, he ordered them to provide this information. Former agents said they'd be surprised if the FBI handed over detailed records related to their source. Handing over investigative files raises alarm bells, they said, because releasing such records may hamper Mueller's investigation. I could see them handing over some of the administrative side of it, like what his name was, contact information, what he was paid and when, said a former FBI counterintel agent. But I don't see it all going over. They have to protect the integrity of the investigation. They want to protect the independent counsel in this.
All right, my friends, we're about to hit a break. I am going to post this on my Facebook page, Riell Truth Radio. I want you to go there. I want you to watch the video, share it, talk about it, gain some traction, and gain some IQ points. You people who voted for Hillary, you voted for, congratulations. You voted for president for the scummiest, dirtiest, most crooked politician in America for the past 30 years. Nice job, guys. Nice job. Item from Breitbart, a Politico Morning Consult poll released on Tuesday for the third quarter shows plunging approval ratings for most incumbent senators from both parties among all voters. Unquote. So Americans are on to Congress. They realize Congress is doing nothing, getting nothing accomplished, and you're going to see an awful lot of supposed conservative Republicans going bye-bye. Because it's time to fix things. And if they're going to get in the way, we're going to move them out of the way. And if the Democrats think that they stand a chance of gaining any traction in the 2018 elections, they're sorely mistaken. Now, I can't speak for Colorado, because Colorado still has to redeem itself from going for Hillary. But we'll see what happens. We'll take a break and we'll finish things up, my friends, here on Riell Truth. All right, guys, welcome back. We got 4 minutes left. Listen, it's not that I intend to say you're stupid if you voted for Hillary Clinton. All right, I guess it is. It is that I mean to say you're stupid if you voted for Hillary Clinton. You don't like it? Call my show and argue with me. Item from the Economic Collapse blog, Michael Snyder, former guest on this show. I quote, "How much is your view of the world shaped by what you see on television? On average, Americans spend more than 150 hours watching television every month, and it's called programming for a reason. If you allow anyone to pour ideas and information into your mind for 5 hours a day, it's going to change how you look at reality. Everyone has an agenda, and every single news program, television show, and movie is trying to alter your views. Sadly, our society has become absolutely addicted to media, and the mainstream media is completely dominated by the elite. In fact, about 90% of the programming that comes through your television is controlled by just 6 gigantic media corporations. Most of us are willingly plugging ourselves into this propaganda matrix that's completely dominated by the elite for several hours a day, and that gives them an enormous amount of power over the rest of us." In previous articles, Snyder writes, "I discussed how the elite use money as a tool to dominate the planet. Today we're going to talk about how they use information. If you control what people think, then you control a society. And through the vast media empires, the elite are able to shape how we all think to a frightening degree. Just think about it. What do we talk about with our family, our friends, and our coworkers? To a large extent, those conversations are about movies, television shows, something we just saw in the news, or a sporting event that just took place. The reason we talk about certain things is because the mainstream media gives those things attention, and other things we ignore because the mainstream media does not make them seem to be important. The mainstream media literally sets the agenda for our society, and it would be difficult to overstate the power that's in their hands. As I mentioned before, the mainstream media is almost entirely controlled by just 6 colossal corporations. The following of these 6 corporate giants the following list comes from one of my previous articles, and this is just a sampling of the media properties they each own. For example, my friends, I won't give you the whole list, but Comcast owns NBC, Telemundo, Universal Pictures, Focus Features, USA Network, Bravo, CNBC, The Weather Channel, MSNBC, Sci-Fi, NBC, SN, Golf Channel, Esquire Network, E, Clue, Chiller, Universal HD, Comcast Sportsnet, Universal Parks and Resorts, Universal Studio, Home Video. The lists go on and on. I won't bore you with them. Let's run to what Snyder says next. If nobody tuned in to their programming, they would not have any power over us. But according to a report put out by Nielsen, Americans are plugging into this matrix more than ever. The following is how, and I won't bore you with that. You go to this piece on the Economic Collapse blog and read it for yourself. When you total the numbers up, it comes to 10 hours and 39 minutes. In essence, Americans are spending most of their waking hours plugged into something. And if you only add together live television and time-shifted television, Americans are spending an average of more than 5 hours each day just watching television. My friends, I don't expect you to turn your life topsy-turvy, but if you have to watch television for 5 hours a day, watch 3 hours of those 5 on Fox, Tucker Carlson, Sean Hannity, and Laura Ingraham. Let those be 3 of your 5 hours. For the other 2 hours, turn the TV off and spend the time with your family and or reading books. I will be back tomorrow with more Real Truth, my friends. Hasta luego.